but not only that, but it's about relationships. And I want to ask a little bit about this because I think in today's world, it is so focused on sales and, turning the dial and closing people and making money and all that fun stuff. And we've lost that aspect of just relationships. And the only way you've been able to establish the amount of Rolodex and the amount of people and the amount of influence and the amount of impact that you have is because you're just very relational. You're very people oriented. And I just admire that of you. But I want to ask you, obviously, was that an evolution for yourself? Or was that, how do you intentionally become and stay relational and relationship focused with your with your team, with everybody that you work with all the individuals that you impact?
So it's funny, right? I think I connect with, I think because I'm very genuine. Like, I'm not in it. Like, I don't, I do things because I genuinely care, right? And I genuinely would not get involved with something unless I felt very comfortable. So first off, I'm really bad at keeping contact, right? Because I had a stalker for 4 years, right? They created 50 anonymous email addresses to defame and slander me and would stalk me online and stalk me in person. It was just so crazy. So I got really scared of people, and it really kind of set me back. Before I was doing events every day and I was like out there and blah, 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 and posting everything about my life and all that kind of stuff. Not about my personal life, but I would always do it about, what I was doing to help, with animals and all that kind of stuff. And now it's interesting, right? Because I'm in a different stage of life, right? I always say to people, if I didn't have my stalker, I wouldn't be on your show right now. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I wouldn't have created Women's Entrepreneurship Day. I wouldn't be investing in all this stuff. It's literally propelled me to an even more impactful life. But I am not like one of those people who's going to just, call people to call people, right? My relationships with people, if you need me, you call me. It's going to be like we just talked yesterday. Like I don't need, it doesn't matter, right? And when you have that relationship with someone, right? So if I'm, but I of course have a lot of like not close connections, but I feel, if I need to reach out, they will respond, as well as I would never reach out if it wasn't going to benefit both parties, right? Like I would never, ever, go to, the president of Mayo Clinic and introduce him to Vicky at Lightline Medical if I didn't have the highest regard for her. And I didn't think 100% in my head, we are going to save millions of lives. This is going to stop and prevent the third largest death rate in the world, infections. So I think it's about that kind of relationship. I'm not calling, the head of Mayo Clinic every day to say, hey, what are you doing tonight? You know what I mean? And it's just like having that, I think that people know, when you're real. And by the way, I don't want to work with anyone who doesn't want to work with me. I don't care who says no. I don't even, your loss, because I am like one of these people who just always thinks of really cool things and has opportunities for everyone and wants to help everyone. So you're never going to please everyone. We see it today, in the
Yeah.
media.
100%, 100%. And it's cool that I appreciate your honesty in that regard. So it's not like you're actively, got a CRM. It's like, hey, reminding you, hey, reach out to 15 people a day or something like that. And, saying, hey, how are you
No,
doing? Or whatever. You're going out
I,
there and saying, hey,
I
when,
don't know.
well,
I don't
I've
know.
seen some people's systems like that
That's cool.
there's
I
very
mean,
systematically in building relationships.
well, that's like what people say about my foundation, Women's Entrepreneurship Day organization. We're in 100 countries. We have the most incredible ambassadors that are just genuine about supporting and helping women entrepreneurs and impoverished women to become entrepreneurs and to support women entrepreneurs in their communities, right? And it just, I'm so bad, and I'm so like, I'm not, I'm always like, hey, you ready? And I'll do it like I'll force myself to get in contact once a week to everyone, right? Because we give them a toolkit and then they go, right? That's the whole point of it. But we have our big foundations event at the United Nations everywhere, and And I laugh. Like, I don't want to be corporate. I've never had a job. I don't even know what it's like to like have health insurance easily or have a paycheck or I don't that's not my life, right? I've never had that. I've always had to be an entrepreneur and figure out my way. And there's nothing better to me than just having being genuine about everything and not, just making a difference on a grassroots way versus this whole structural way. I just feel it's just more me being scrappy. I love startups. I love the whole space.
And yeah, and like you mentioned as well, is when you do reach out to someone, they know this is going to be a high value connection because you've had experience before and they've had experience before. And so it may not, like you mentioned, where you have to reach out to them every month, but it may be a year and like, hey, you know what? I got a really valuable connection. You guys should connect and have that synergistic relationship.